Okay, I hate to bring it up again, but I'm going to because I'm right. This conversation about Black Americans not having any culture is so funny. And it's especially funny because today, on a random Friday in August, I went downstairs to my living room. The Olympics is on, and I'm watching women from Portugal and China and Japan and Ukraine and France competing in in breakdancing, which is very much a unique form of Black American culture. And it's a global phenomenon. And so when people are always like, "Oh, Black Americans don't have any culture," and it's usually other Black people who are saying this, which is what's so frustrating. It's other people who are part of the diaspora. It's just not true. Like, why are you wearing a Yankees cap in London? And there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's so frustrating to hear people say that it doesn't exist. And it's like, Black American culture is such a global phenomenon at this point, all aspects of it, right? Many aspects of it, that people don't even want to acknowledge that it's American, right? Like, they just want to say, oh, well, it's Black culture. And it's like, well, there's Black culture from a lot of different places, and Black American culture is very unique, and very important, and has such a large reach that it's unfathomable. Like, modern tap dancing, break dancing, breaking, hip hop culture, R&B culture. Like, you guys just don't like, it's not that you don't like Black Americans, but I just can't help but feel like other members of the diaspora, whether you're in the Caribbean or Europe or Africa, want to make Black Americans feel bad for things that are just not a part of their control. And it's really bizarre.
Close your eyes. It's 2025. Afrobeat is not just playing, it's ruling the Spotify world, up to 183% this year. Those nights are now global anthems. Hip hop. Hip hop. It's not just magic anymore. It helped build a 330 billion street empire. In the US, blacks are 48 million strong and up by about third since the year 2000. Our spending power, $2.1 trillion. We don't just follow trends, we are the trends. But here's the twist. While we're talking over the world, culturally, one in three black youth say they are losing their roots. So here's the question. Are we mixing world into our image? Or is the world remixing us into something else that we can't actually recognize? So welcome to the Unfiltered Roots. If your brain's already buzzing, hit like, subscribe, and locked in. Today we are asking, are we losing our black identity in global world?
I will always support African Americans in wanting to gatekeep their culture because the erasure is real. Gatekeep hip hop, gatekeep R&B, gatekeep your culture, period. As an Afro Latina, like, trust me, I know firsthand the erasure is real. For context, Latino music such as like reggaeton, salsa, bachata, just to name a few, are historically Black Latino music. They have their roots in Black Latinidad. And as a result, the artists that used to have the biggest impact and largest visibility in these genres were Black Latino artists. Fast forward to today, the artists with the biggest impact and the largest amount of visibility in these genres are white Latino artists. It's so bad that they have started to play in our faces. They gave J Balvin about 2 years ago Afro Latino Music Artist of the Year award. This conquistador Cruz, this direct descendant of Christopher Columbus, accepted and was awarded Afro Latino Music Artist of the Year award. I will never let this go. Now, I'm not saying we don't have Afro Latinos that are very, popular today still in these music genres, as we should, but they do not have the impact nor the visibility that the white Latino artists in these genres have began to receive. It has gotten so bad that there are now Spaniards winning Latino Music Artist Awards. Spaniards. And it's honestly just so sad to see like the erasure in fucking real time. Like our music, like we had salsa songs that would sing about, you know, the impact of slavery in Latin America. We used to have music that would sing about and talk about the beauty of Black Latino women. None of that exists anymore for the most part. So yeah, gatekeep.
Y'all understand logically that Black Americans are Americans as a nationality, but you don't culturally understand it. Y'all don't culturally understand the difference, and therefore you struggle to actually grasp and be able to hold space for the complicated, contradictory nuances of that identity. And I'll use Cowboy Carter as an example, but it goes beyond that. Y'all don't really grasp what we mean when we say that our roots are here. Our roots, our culture being built here, our ancestors' literal blood, sweat, and tears in the very fabric of this land, of this country. So you often mistake what we're doing as patriotism when it's actually veneration, but it's by design. America wants you to think it's patriotism, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how. Because our culture is actively stolen, appropriated, and erased, when it's finally acknowledged as such, the only tools or imagery that's really used to talk about it is that of the American machine. You're actively seeing our culture being erased and being used as an export, being used as marketed as just American culture. Hoodoo having to be hidden and shielded behind Christianity and the Bible. Juneteenth, once it's finally nationally recognized, has to be an American holiday. AAVE being talked about as a Southern accent. There's so many examples, right? And what you're actively seeing, what we're all seeing, is our culture and history being actively erased and being told this is just American. So then we're told by Americans, right, this isn't your culture, it's American culture. And then everyone else tells us, oh, you're being patriotic when we do things that's actually ours. It's been a continuous cycle that has happened since our ancestors were forced to be enslaved here. Building a counterculture in the midst of an oppressive culture, the oppressors get a hold of it, take it for themselves, and then tell us it's not ours and make it theirs. And if it's not them stealing our culture, then it's something that our oppressors created, forced us to survive in, and we as a people had to find some sentimentality in it or make something from it. And a good example of that is Thanksgiving. Right? We know Thanksgiving has genocidal roots, and it was also something where it would be the only time that enslaved Africans could commune together. So now there's some cultural sentimentality attached to that, even though we as Black people hate oppression. Contradictory as fuck. It was an enslaved Black man that learned this mac and cheese recipe, brought it back, flipped it, and reversed it, and now baked mac and cheese is a Black American staple, and we seeing a whole bunch of recipes on TikTok. Either way, anything we do, create, participate, and engage in is shadowed by this broader American machine that's damn near impossible to separate ourselves from, even when we try to distance ourselves from it. Because America makes it impossible, and the world, y'all, make that also impossible. You also see the erasure and engage in the erasure because you dilute it down to just being something American. Which is why there's a push for really mainly only us in the diaspora to find out where we're really from. Because being from America isn't acceptable. Y'all understand the fact we're Black American, but you don't like the fact that we're Black American, and you blame us for it and project your feelings on the American machine onto us because America told you that you can. It's not acceptable to find pride here. We don't want to find pride here, and y'all don't want us to feel prideful, right? However, we have pride in our ancestors. We have pride for the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into this land. We have pride in what they created and what we continue to create while still actively living here. Now, if I bring this back into Cowboy Carter as an example, it would make sense why y'all struggle to see the reclamation aspect of it, or why you struggle to see the irony of her using certain imagery and the purposeful contradictoriness of it and the nuances of it. You don't have to agree with it, you could critique it, but y'all are struggling to see it, and you're just resorting it to American imagery. You're just resorting to that. Y'all struggle to see that. Whether you fucking like Beyonce or not, there's a whole subset of Black American people that feel seen by this artistry, that she was speaking to them and speaking for them. Right, the Black cowboys, right, the Black equestrian girlies who got the horse camps that now that this has been on the big screen can finally get donations to keep it up and running. Black people's contributions and creation of country music and the culture. Right, putting y'all on to other Black country artists, whether you like her or not. You can like these folks. You could learn this culture. You can learn the roots of it. You can learn how it's in the fabric of this country that nobody fucking likes, including us. But you struggle to listen to the music and the lyrics that literally say that. You struggle to see the imagery as something that triggers white folks, because this is culture that white people really love and enjoy, while hating and erasing, in fact, that we're the fabric of it. They really enjoy it, but they don't want to acknowledge we're the fabric of it. And they hate that we're a part of it. They hate that we're here while they force us to be here. So it's like, let me make it plain for y'all to see that we're in this. And again, you can critique the use of that imagery for sure. Why not? That art is supposed to be critiqued. But to resort it down to just one type of thing shows you're culturally unaware, or you struggle to sit in cultural nuances and actually understand what nuance is. Nuance is often uncomfortable. It's contradictory. It's complicated. And if you actually understood culturally the identity of being Black American, where your roots are here for generations upon generations upon generations, this would be very easy for you to get. It would. But it's easier to just resort us to being patriotic for a country rather than venerating a culture that our ancestors and we had a part in, whether we wanted to or not. It's easier to ask us where you're really from because you understand that you shouldn't be proud to be from America or proud to have any ties to America. But this is where we're from. This is where my people, our ancestors, are from. And if we have to sit in the contradictory dichotomy nuance of that and try to learn how to not perpetuate the problematic American machine, y'all can see the discomfort of realizing there's a certain level of pride for what our ancestors have built and what we continue to build, because the rest of y'all, everybody got hands in it. Everybody does. This is what happens when you have a Black culture that is surrounded by its oppressor, embedded in the same land, in the same country with its oppressor. That's what we've been talking about when we say Black Americans live amongst their oppressors, and we don't have an ethno-state. We don't have a majority Black country like other people across the diaspora. This is what it looks like. Y'all are seeing it in real time. So because we're seeing it in real time, let's address it as it is, with its complexity and the nuances and the dichotomy and the paradox and the contradictions that it comes with, and approach it with some understanding and some comprehension and some critical fucking thinking. That's all I'm saying.
Is identity erosion. So now globalization feel like a win, but but it can also be a cultural tribe. Hollywood, there's TikTok, there's corporate brands, and they're flooding timelines faster than grandma proverbs can survive. Honestly, even me, I don't know any traditional proverbs until I do research. This shows how globalization has actually impacted our tradition. In some places, local beats gets buried under imported hype. So, now kids now on TikTok are dancing, but they can't finish that traditional story. In the US, our culture gets sold back to us. Soul food labeled as exotic have been used online without struggle that created it. Even we're talking about hip hop. Hip hop get polished, packaged, safe for boardrooms. Pain become profit. Lineage gets swapped for luxury. Excellent becomes the performance skills. When there are times where the hip hop used to express, feelings, used to express frustration, but now they're twisting it. They're trying to culturally manipulate it into to feel or to be accepted by the white society.
You know that video that's going around right now is basically Black men in the industry talking about how they get paid more to rap about violence, drugs, and a whole bunch of bullshit. So I was scrolling on Instagram and I see this post of this, like, he looks young. So I'm gonna say this young man, and it's his mugshot, right? And it was one of those like gossip tea pages, and they were talking about how he's on trial for a murder charge. And on the post was the guy's song playing. I don't know his name, I don't remember his name, but his music was playing on the post. I'm listening to the little snippet. He's basically talking about murdering people, shooting people. Basically, he's untouchable. I'm watching the Hip Hop Evolution documentary on Netflix right now. It's basically like the history of hip hop. It takes me back, right? Roots of hip hop, how the whole shit started. It was basically interacting with the crowd, dancing, getting the people moving. It was about vibes. But somewhere along the lines, it grew into street talk because there was really no music that was representing the hood. And the gangster music, the street music came out, the hood felt heard. But then when we go back to the clip of these rappers, right? The current state of hip hop rap, we go back to the clip of these talking about how to get paid to rap about bullshit. I'm like, wait, this is low-key a very, very long game of entrapment. Because a lot of the young rappers of our generation, they look up to the rappers who made it out. So not only do they make the street life, the gangster life, all that, that's cool, but when they live these lives and then they go on to rap about it in their music, when law enforcement catches up to them, it's so much easier for them to build a case because it's like, you literally rap about this. You already painted themselves as these murderers. They already painted themselves as these violent people. So it's like, okay, like that Black men to prison pipeline runs is deep because prison labor is basically slave labor. And I know the system misses having black bodies to enslave, so they wrote them in however they can. I'm telling y'all, it's a very, very, very long game of entrapment.
Diaspora division creeps in. So blacks becomes one size small fits in all labor, whiting out different histories and struggles. And as American political stage shifts, our voice risks being watered down, adapt or disappear. That is the pressure that the world is trying to, or the globalization is trying to push toward to Africans, to the blacks, to the UK, to the Afro-Caribbeans. This flip where resistance will result to evolution. But hold up, we are not fading, we are evolving. So imagine from black identity, or the black identity has always been adapted. Yeah, you've talked about Yoruba rhythms transforming into shamba or samba, to slave chants morphing into gospel, to gospel bringing up, or the gospel birthing hip hop. You've also taken pain and turned out into power. That's the black excellence. That's the black identity that we always took or take our struggles and blend it to be our success stories. And these success stories are now fading out. These are our struggles. We are hiding in globalization. We are not allowed to speak. So imagine somebody composed a song, talking about all his frustrations, all the black history. Will you listen or will you get bored by the story? Imagine Afrobeat runs global parties. Grime hits international charts, trap influences Bollywood, and Burna Boy blends high life and rap, and the world listens, the world understands. The Black Lives Matter became a global chant from Brazil to Benin. TikTok becomes a digital drum cycle. AI help us archive ancestors instead of doing it, instead of harassing them. So we are not one kind of black. We are constellation. Adios, Caribbeans, Africans, Afro Latinos are not diluted, but we are expanding. So, above all these issues, what could be our path forward? How will we move? So, what's the move? If you may ask yourself, if I may ask you as my viewer or my listener, it's not to hide, but to build internationally, or to build intentionally. We need black owned media. We need black led conversations. We need spaces that are global but rooted in the African culture or the black culture. We don't have to be identical to be unified. We just have to stay grounded while we grow. So our future is fusion, but with a foundation that's very strong. So tell me, where do you stand? Are you rooted in tradition, or you are remixing your future, or both? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Like if you're still here, and you know what, subscribe to build this journey too. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next topic or the next wave of unfiltered and unbreakable truth. Till next time, peace out.